Hello everyone, it's History Behind the Warrior, and welcome to a very unique and surprising video that just turned up on my doorstep this week, because it does look like we'll be getting another Mortal Kombat crossover with DC, albeit not in video game form. Now mind you, this is all part of DC's current big crisis event, DC KO, which is a tournament-like event, which ultimately determines who wins the Heart of Apocalypse and becomes what is known as King Omega, the last hope of humanity and the last thing that stands between it and a cosmic level threat in the form of Darkseid. But how exactly does Mortal Kombat come into this? How are they connected? How does this all kind of work? Well, due to how the tournament functions, where only one can be worthy of holding that power, the tournament has had it so they bring in other fighters in order to dwindle down those numbers, taking us to this boss battle miniseries, which includes the likes of Homelander, Red Sonja, Annabelle, yes, that's Annabelle, and of course, the likes of Sub-Zero and even Shang Tsung, pitting them against the likes of what looks to be Black Lightning and Plastic Man, as it was revealed a few mere days ago in a comic book panel. A matchup which we will go on to analyze and actually talk about, theorizing who should come out on top in this encounter. Now, just before we do that, I will open and state that if you actually think about it, technically from a canonical standpoint, this is the first time in DC's actual main canon where Mortal Kombat is actually canonical to it. It's not an Elseworld story like Mortal Kombat vs DC, nor is it a singular DLC character inclusion, marking this as the first official and only time Mortal Kombat has appeared in DC's mainline continuity. So it is actually a pretty big thing, even if it is a weird, crazy, semi-multiverse event, and I'm fairly certain the renditions of Mortal Kombat characters we do have here is from its own continuity and one that hasn't been established yet. Because when we do actually take a look at the comic book panels, whilst on the surface everything seems fine, where Sub-Zero and Shang Tsung are in their respective current character designs, that's being MK1. When we look at the background and terrain of this arena, it's actually Shang Tsung's island from Mortal Kombat 9, from the monks to the gong to the pillars that emulate that stage, and goes to show where both of these series possibly intersect, where Black Lightning and Plastic Man may be dropped into the literal middle of a Mortal Kombat tournament, where Earthrealm is battling Outworld, and just by chance, fate, or circumstance, they've effectively thrown themselves into another person's tournament, and are kind of pseudo acting on Raiden's behalf, even more clueless than they could possibly be. Again, this is a theory, but it definitely does make sense. And it's also kind of ingenious, because it's two tournaments going head to head with one another, but the only thing that the other participants know is that they need to defeat their opponents, as it is a life or death situation. But with some hindsight, I do want to point this out. This secret boss's tie-in event does take place in between the main issues here, so no real point of time is given nor designated to when this fight occurs. Now mind you, we do know that Plastic Man and Black Lightning do get eliminated during round 2, which means that they could actually win this battle. But we do also know that during Batman's tie-in for this event, he has been going off and doing his own thing, where he's fighting other Robins as Batmans in their own respective realities. So something oddly similar might be happening here, where the Heart of Apocalypse is giving them a second chance if they do succeed. All that we do know as of making this video is who the final 8 are. That's being Superman, Lex Luthor, Aquaman, Cyborg, Wonder Woman, Guy Gardner, Joker, and Zatanna. We may already have an answer to who comes out on top during this battle. So for funsies, let's actually break down this fight and discuss who would come out on top. Now, with it being a 2v2 fight, or cameo fight, dear god, it creates a really unique dynamic between both sides, because you have one individual that's basically a being of magic through Shang Tsung, able to change and transform and morph, whilst having a taste for souls. And on Sub-Zero's side, you have a proficient assassin who's extremely talented in hand-to-hand combat and does have the ability to conjure ice, something that I believe is incredibly important in this matchup. And then on the other side of things, we do have Black Lightning, a very experienced superhero in his field, with of course a keen aptitude to conjure lightning, and then you have Plastic Man, And Plastic Man is a terrifying character, because effectively, depending on the writer's mood, he can fluctuate from haha funny man to unknown unstoppable eldritch horror if they so choose. He is nigh indestructible, and one of the very few characters that Batman has gone on record to say he has no idea how to defeat him. The best thing you can do is try to slow him down. But that's where Sub-Zero comes into play, as Cryomancy is one of the very few things that can at least stop him, halting his abilities to be malleable and change shape. And then if you pair that with Shang Tsung's abilities to take souls, I believe that they could defeat Plastic Man that way. It's just about getting that one touch to freeze him that I think will be the difficult part. Because keep in mind that whilst Plastic Man is impervious to most things physical, magic is a bit of a different ballgame here. He can handle being stabbed, he can handle being shot at, and stretched to extreme degrees. But to lose your soul is a different ballgame. It's not a part of your physical being. Ice doesn't exactly conduct electricity, so it does even the playing field for Sub-Zero against Black Lightning. If anything, it will be a battle of fisticuffs, because with Sub-Zero's own history of lightning wielders, with individuals like Raiden, and then Black Lightning himself having defeated a gallery of ice-themed supervillains, I'd say it's quite neck and neck in that department. Although I will say that I do think Sub-Zero has the slight edge, due to the fact that Raiden is a god. The thing is, when it does come to this fight in particular, it's ultimately, how devastating do they want to write Plastic Man? This guy is absolutely the ace in the hole here, because if it is a one-on-one fight, unless magic or freezing is involved in some way, he's absolutely coming out on top. But if the two are to work in tandem, then I do see this being a problem for him. And if this fight is to consist of 3 rounds, I think that Sub-Zero and Shang Tsung will at least win 1 round, sheerly from the element of surprise. But I think that once that game plan does adjust, and they're able to adapt from some familiarity, I see how Black Lightning and Plastic Man could take this. Especially if there's 3 rounds to work with. It simply gives them more time. It's just the real danger is how they want to write Plastic Man, who could be written in such a way that he could absolutely stomp them, or something just as terrifying here, if Shang Tsung decides to alter his form to emulate Plastic Man. Something the character is very infamous for, creating a scenario and fights that could go on for ages. Ultimately though, with it being a 2v2 scenario, and it possibly consisting of 3 rounds, I do think Black Lightning and Plastic Man will take the victory. I think if it was 1 round, and Sub-Zero and Shang Tsung did have the element of surprise, it would be a one and done sort of situation. But with the stakes at hand, and it's maybe leading to a place where Plastic Man has to take it seriously, then I do see them coming out on top. But I'll be so for real with you when I say this could absolutely go either way. And honestly, having the feat or ability to even be able to kill Plastic Man is impressive in itself. Alas, we must wait and see until this issue does come out, because I'm simply going off one panel here and theorizing off the information that I do know of these characters. Rest assured, I'll absolutely be talking about this issue once it does drop, analysing the fight, and talking about my overall thoughts on it. But with that said, and my coverage of this topic, as well as the weird unique timeline this does seem to be set in, what are your thoughts on this battle? Do you think Plastic Man and Black Lightning will walk away victorious? Or do you think the deadly alliance of Sub-Zero and Shang Tsung could topple these heroes? Please do comment down below, as I really would love to hear what you have to say on this, as I'm excited for this for a multitude of different reasons. Not just to see who comes out on top, but the fact that they're finally kind of interjecting Mortal Kombat to DC in some capacity. Like, the idea's been there for over a decade and a bit now. So I'm just curious to see if this is simply a taste or a tease for what's to come in the future now. But yes, please do leave your thoughts and comments down below, as I'd really love to hear what you have to say on this. But until the next one everyone, that's been it for me. Take care.